This is Lawrence Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada. And we are the country's distributor for Spyker. And we're also the Alberta distributor for Bentley and Aston Martin. What we have here is a partially unfolded Spyker C8 Spyder. And it's a beautiful piece of engineering. And I thought I'd just show you a little bit more about it on the walk around. So, this is a bespoke aluminum monocoque. We're looking at the rear clamshell that's been tilted up here. And inside we've got the Audi 4.2 liter 400 horsepower engine with an Audi transaxle facing the same way as in the Audi cars, just further back in the chassis. You can see that it has inboard racing style rear suspension. The exhaust system, you can see a bypass valve in the exhaust, and that of course there's a button on the dash and you can switch it and it closes the valve and it produces the straight through exhaust, which deepens the sound and sounds very lovely. At the front of the car as well we have the inboard suspension as in a racing car. There is nothing in the way of fender linings, which means that you feel and hear everything on the road. There are spherical bearings which for the suspension pieces, where most cars would have rubber or nylon, and it means that the ride is very taut, very controlled, with no slop at all. This car would be made, I would say, similar to a 70s race car before electronics and carbon fiber, where you have an aluminum monocoque and a mid-engined V8 engine, race type suspension. This car is super lightweight, 2,700 pounds, so it undercuts the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis by 300 or 400 pounds, but with a 4.2 liter V8 engine. Some gorgeous detailing. This is the race style pedal box, and so there's no brake booster in this car, so you need to use a firm foot, but there's no slop in it either. You get absolute precise control. This Spyker is famous for an exposed gear lever, and so this linkage wouldn't be that dissimilar from other manual transmission cars. It's just that it's highly detailed and polished, and it sits above the console instead of below. So we have the machined aluminum dash, and this of course is what they used to do in the 30s when the cars were made of aluminum then too, and to dress it up they had a wire brush, and that they would on aircraft and on cars create the designs. And the pre-war cars like the Bugattis, Delahaye's, Delage, etc., you can see that work. They're scissor type doors a la Lamborghini, and they have a solenoid with a button on the inside of the door mirror here, and so we do that and the door rises. To close it up, we can shut the door, lower the front clamshell, I think I might need two hands for the one on the back, but there you got the idea. So, beautifully constructed car. It came 5th in Le Mans in GT2 this year. It beat all the Porsches, and that's not easy. It's not easy to make your car last 24 hours in that race. You have to be within 70% of the lead car in your class, otherwise you get DNF'd. So the lap of Le Mans is 75% full throttle, and it will just about destroy anything that isn't absolutely meticulously prepared. Spyker has been going to Le Mans for several years now, and they were very happy to finish the race very respectably. So this isn't, this isn't a styling whim of a car. It's a properly engineered sports car. You feel everything on the road. You hear the gearbox whine, you hear the gear mesh, you hear the induction noise. You hear the exhaust noise, you feel everything in the road. Very intimate car, very fun car. let's get in it here. It takes a little bit of agility to get in, but no problem. And close the door. And you're tightly ensconced in this cockpit. You'll know there's no rail for the windscreen, so the exterior and the cabin sort of blend together. It's a very raw, visceral feeling car. This is the only piece of plastic in the car, the ignition switch. So that goes up, turn the ignition on, and then we start the car. I'm not going to do it in the showroom. All the switch gear is bespoke. Each of these switches apparently costs $50 a piece, and they have a wonderful tactile feel about them. Nothing in this car feels cheap or sourced from anything else. The switches aren't from, you know, a BMW or a Jag or something like that. Everything's made unique from Spyker. The production volumes on this car are absolutely tiny. They make 5,000 Ferraris a year and 5,000 Astons a year, and they make about 100 Spykers a year. So the interior's beautifully quilted. You can see this work on some 60s Ferraris like a Lusso, and it's very luxurious, but there's still, you know, honest sport seats, relatively firm padding, but very lavishly detailed. So it's kind of like a 70s race car, or maybe a mid-70s exotic car, but with a super bespoke interior, lavishly detailed, and very special and unique piece. So it's a fun car to drive. It's loud, it's quick. We had it on the autocross in Atlanta, and we pounded these things around for days, and not one of them overheated or melted its tires or brakes caught on fire or whatever. So it's a good quality car, and it was lots of fun on the autocross. Sharp on the nose, it's good under power, kind of likes to have the rear end hung out a little bit. No traction control, no stability control, no power brakes, no power steering. So this is an honest, nuts and bolts, exotic sports car, and it's less than Ferrari and Lamborghini money, and I'm really quite pleased to have this in the showroom, and I'd be happy to give you a first-hand tour. Thanks for looking.